And we welcome you to Power Rankings, presented by the long-lasting power of Energizers. Still going. Normally, we have a little bit of fun here at the top, but we got carryover from our pre-show meeting. And I only feel it fair for you, our viewers, to get a peek into what just went down when I was able to see for the first time Zeusers, Dan Zeus's Power Rankings. Now, here is our bracket. Those are the power ranking numbers, of course, not their overall seed, as it stands right now, today, going into championship week. I have spent 4+ months listening to you say it's the power rankings, not the power standings.
Yes.
And yet you have got the Buffalo Bills ranked number 5. Behind the Bengals, the 49ers, and the Rams, and I do not believe for a second, Dan Hanzus, that in your power ranking heart, you believe the Bills to be an inferior team to those 3 squads.
I'm sick about it, Money.
What gives?
I'm sick about it.
I'm sick about it.
It's been a crisis for me because I know what you're saying, and I get what you're saying. And to me, the second best team in football right now, Buffalo
Bills.
However,
what?
However, to have power, you must have a path to the Lombardi Trophy.
At this point.
If you do not have a path to the trophy, you are therefore powerless. And I know that hurts the people of Western New York, and it hurts me because I think we all would have loved to see the Bills this weekend.
Sure.
But that's just how it works. Power rankings, you got to have power. Back to the Future 2 ref for people that are old enough to get it.
I've got the power, and it's getting kind of hectic. So let's get right into it. The AFC Championship game, a rematch from Week 17 that was a heavyweight fight between these two squads, Cincinnati Bengals-Chiefs. The Bengals got the best of the Chiefs at home. What do you envision happening?
Gotta love the Chiefs, right? I mean, got the Chiefs at number 1 now. The Mahomes magic, we already knew that it was real. We knew that this was a legendary player just entering his prime essentially now at age 25. But to see what he was able to do, Josh Allen was otherworldly in this game. Any other team, any other quarterback would have bowed down. But having Mahomes in those last 13 seconds, get those 2 monster completions, and then once the coin flip was won, you knew it was a wrap. And maybe that's a discussion for another time with the overtime rules. But his greatness, I think, is going to be so difficult to overcome for any of the teams left in the bracket.
Except Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Joe Burrow's Dwayne Wade. What was the old commercial? I get knocked down 7 times, I get up 8. Joe Burrow got knocked down 9 times, and he got up 10. I do think there is something to be said.
You're referring to his sack total.
His sack total. The man was sacked 9 times, and he got up 10. And I appreciate the juggernaut that is the Chiefs' offense. And I recognize that with 13 seconds left, probably every other quarterback in the league would have been going home except Patrick Mahomes and the magic that he made against the Bills. But to me, there is something about Joe Burrow. There is something special about him being a leader of a team that knows you never say die. No matter how many hits he's taken, no matter how bleak it looks, they still ended up getting that victory. He urged his defense to create those 3 turnovers. Let's not forget 3 interceptions from 3 different players. And look, they shut down Derrick Henry. He averaged 3.1 yards per carry. We thought that was going to be the difference. He's got his big playmaker in Jamar Chase. And again, they just played. They just played in Week 17, and he had 446 yards and 4 touchdowns, and Jamar Chase had nearly 302. So we know it can be done.
Right, and it would be silly of me or anyone else to discount what happened at the end of the regular season, because that just is a reminder of how special Burrow can be. But 2 points. One, this is not the Titans now. That was a fraudulent number 1 seed. We all know that. If you watched this show last week, I was one of the people ringing the alarm bell. Don't just assume Derrick Henry is going to be Derrick Henry. And then Ryan Tannehill doesn't show up, and you get to sneak out of the divisional round. But they're going to need to be a lot better, the Bengals, to get past the mighty Mahomes at Arrowhead. I'm not saying it can't happen.
It just happened in Week 17. It just happened.
With their pass protection issues, it really concerns me that this could get away from the Bengals. So I'll be that guy that's doubting them, but at the same time, I'd love to see another shootout.
I think to me, the Tennessee front's better than the Chiefs front. I love Chris Jones. He's one of the best players, especially second to Aaron Donald when it comes to interior pass rushers. But I mean, Jeffrey Simmons and Landry, I mean, that is a nasty front to contend with, and I don't think it's going to be any worse. Now, look, I don't think the Bengals offense is going to be able to slow down the Chiefs offense. No. But again, we just saw it. I mean, it was a 75 points combined, and it was just an aerial assault from both of these teams. And it's what we just saw in the Bills-Chiefs game, right? The defenses did almost nothing.
I hope we get another game like that. Do you think the Bengals, I think I know your answer, they can score 38 points. They can score 42 points. In this spot, it's different than the regular season now.
I know this is there's no football analysis to this whatsoever, but I think we have the two quarterbacks that we want to see, just like we did last week.
Oh, that's part two for me.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
so do you think that
I think Joe Burrow can overcome anything.
Okay,
I believe that.
I call it the superstar club. Do you think that Burrow's not knocking on the door? He's already up there with Mahomes and Allen at the upper reaches of that club.
I believe the AFC is set for the next decade with Burrow and Herbert and Mahomes and Allen. It is going to be it's
Zach
just a
Wilson,
slog. It is going to be.
Yeah. Just roll with it.
To the NFC. Rams, 49ers. The third time these two teams will meet, the 49ers swept the Rams in the regular season.
They did, and they've beaten them six consecutive times overall. And that's why I look at this, and I know the games at SoFi, obviously, and I know the Rams, if you ask the people in the desert, the Rams should win the game, or that's where things are headed right now. But there's just too much evidence for me that San Francisco is just going to come into this game with a ton of confidence. They know they can handle this team. They know even falling behind doesn't mean the end. And they know, even after watching the divisional playoffs, and you give credit, obviously, to the Rams for taking care of the defending champions, the Rams don't know how to close out teams, so you're never going to be out of this game. And then you have, like I said, this unwavering belief that you have your rival's number. Let's go back to Week 18 when the Niners punched their ticket to the postseason with that comeback win over the Rams at SoFi Stadium. Here's George Kittle.
I'll just give you guys this because it was fun. Apparently, I used a body bag quote that they used in their locker room this entire week, and I was saying it was for both sides of the ball. Whoever it is, Rams or Niners, someone's leaving in a body bag, and we go down 17-0, and I had 5 guys chirping me in the air that, hey, you guys are putting you in a body bag, Kill, and I was like, a lot of time up on that clock, boys. And hopefully I can see them again because that was a fun body bag game.
Love it.
He's a pro wrestler.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wrestling references.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. Look, they say, it's so hard to beat a team 3 times. Look, it's hard to beat a team twice in a season. That's why typically you split in your division unless you're absolutely dominant in your division. So 3 is tough, but they've done it 6 times. And look at the numbers. And remember, one of those was coming from behind 17-0 in overtime win. Yet, when you take these 6 games,
oh my goodness,
they're winning by an average of 8.5 points. They're gaining 80 more yards. And look at that time of possession. The best way to knock off a potent offense is to not let them possess the ball. 10 minutes of possession per game. I said this last week with Matt LaFleur. I'll say it again. It reminds me of that SpongeBob meme that makes its way around social media where SpongeBob's got the weird face and he's just like, "Duh?" Like that's what happens to the mentees of Kyle Shanahan. Matt LaFleur and Sean McVay lose their minds when they have to take on the man that brought them into this business and showed them the way.
I mean, how annoying must this be for Sean McVay that
they could have kicked them out of the playoffs. They would have been out of the playoffs entirely.
They are up 17
yes.
zip. They're up 24-17 late in the fourth quarter. Their great defense just needs, okay defense this year, just needs to make a stand. They can't do it. And now they have a chance.
Right.
Shanahan, imagine if he wins 7 in a row to get to the Super Bowl.
So let's go other sideline, and let's talk about what just happened in Tampa. Like you said, they've had trouble closing games out. They smashed the Cardinals. I mean, to the point where they're having discussions about what their team's going to look like from a coaching standpoint, player personnel standpoint moving forward. Then you go into Tampa, you go up 27-3. This is what I love most about that game. We've wondered whether or not Matthew Stafford, okay, is he really the guy? He's 0-3 in the playoffs. Can he win the big game? Instead of kneeling on this ball and taking a reset and saying, let's collect ourselves, we'll get into overtime, we'll have a conversation. I know this got away from us. We fumbled the ball 4 times. That's the only reason Tampa's in this contest. No. Go get it, Matthew Stafford. Go win a game. Have your signature moment in the postseason. I think there's something to be said for that. There's going to be carryover from that game, especially in the manner in which they won it.
And McVay is obviously a brilliant offensive mind, and he's a really good head coach. hopefully he learns from that, because he got a little tight and played that game conservative, trying to run out the clock. And you saw what happened. Cam Akers almost Ernest Byner'd himself into forever NFL infamy.
Why you got to do that?
It is what it is. But when the walls are collapsing in, the guy that he met in Cabo in that surprise meeting last January, he's the guy that saved them. Let Matt Stafford win you or lose you a Super Bowl.
Right.
This is not Jared Goff anymore.
And the defense was dominant. I mean, an absolute wrecking machine. What Aaron Donald, and look, Von Miller, it's clear. He was like, guys, just give me the regular season.
Right.
I'm an older guy. I'm going to save my body. And when the playoffs start, you're going to see the Von Miller that you knew you were getting when you made a trade. And holy cow, that front with Floyd, Donald, and Miller is going to be an absolute nightmare to contend with in this contest and if they make Super Bowl 56. All right, multiple dominant teams got booted from the playoffs, particularly superstars. The likely MVP of the league is going to have to accept that trophy and do it while knowing the path to the Super Bowl went through Lambeau, and he did not win a single playoff
And that's
game.
not the first time this has happened.
Nope.
And listen, I'm angry about it.
Angry.
I mean, I had the Packers at #1 in the power rankings.
You've made a fool of me, Aaron Rodgers.
He sure did. He made a fool of everyone who said, listen, I understand if you look at the January history of this organization under Aaron Rodgers, it's checkered. But then the people like me and you, Money, and the other people that are even greater tape heads, like the Baldies out there, everyone's watching the same games week after week, the last 7 weeks of the regular season for the Packers. This team is locked in. They're great on both sides of the ball. The coaching is great. Rodgers is at his peak. This year is different. And then it wasn't different. And I know you can look at the special teams and demonize them and say they're the scapegoat, put the horns on them, and that's fair. 10-point swing and a 3-point loss. But Rodgers.
Score 14 and win the game.
Rodgers was the guy that needed to put that team on his back. Never forget that block punt for a touchdown was sandwiched by 2 3-and-outs by the Packers offense.
Well, we discussed this, last week when you were doing your quarterback rankings and you had him at #1. I said, look, my problem with Aaron Rodgers has always been the same thing. Pat, blah, and he gets destroyed by a good defensive front. He was locked in on Davante Adams the entire game. 11 targets for Davante Adams. You know how many Lazard had? 1.
It was
Mercedes
the
Lewis,
fourth quarter.
1.
Before he targeted one wide receiver.
It's insane. And by the way, I don't want to hear about you saying you don't want to be part of a rebuild in the postgame. All right? Take ownership. Take ownership of a loss where you couldn't score 14 points. The path to the Super Bowl went through Lambeau, and you couldn't win a playoff game.
What my last feeling on this is, pressure does different things to different players.
Pressure bursts pipes.
Yes, it does. It also makes diamonds. Look at Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in the crucible.
Brilliant.
Aaron Rodgers
Joe Burrow.
Aaron Rodgers played differently than he had been all season.
Let's get positive. We're not a negative show. We like to be positive. Big smile.
Nah, Rodgers deserved that.
How about Tom Brady?
He needed to be spanked.
How about Tom Brady? Huzzah, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, who knows? Is this the end? We don't know. It's the first time we've heard in his long, illustrious career that he's thinking about walking away, and his family is going to have a big voice in the room. That's what we're being told. We shall see. To come back from 27-3 down to tie the game up, and then not get a chance to go back on the field, that was frustrating, but also, Money, it was great to see this old lion battle back and show what a great he is.
Yeah, look, you want to go out on your shield, right? And I think when you look at that game, Tristan Wirfs out, Ryan Jensen banged up. The Rams, they sacked him 3 times. They hit him another 6. Totally fine and understandable if you just say, hey, unfortunately, injuries played their part, and it wasn't to be for Tom Brady against that front, that nasty front. Instead, rallies his team, goes right after Jalen Ramsey to Mike Evans, ties up the game after being down 27-3. There's something to be said. Brady luck and fumble luck and interception luck, and he shouldn't have the right. Well, you make your own. And you're a leader of a team when you're a quarterback and you have the resume that Tom Brady has. And the fact that his team never stopped believing and went out there and competed as hard as they did, down 27-3 in the second half, for him to tie this thing up, I think it's just, it's not a win, but man, it's a beautiful pelt to put on the wall, to not go out meek, in meek fashion, but to go out as strong as he did.
He's
to
not
tie
done,
that game.
though. He's not done.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Everybody's a free agent. Remember, these were all one-year deals. They all came back. I don't know.
He loves ball.
Well, that is that.
Addicted to ball.
It is what?
He's addicted to ball.
That's right. You know what? He's got passion. Up next, Cynthia checks in with that fancy pants Monte Carlo method, 10,000 simulations to share the percentage chance each of our road teams has to make Super Bowl 56.
I'm mic'd up today. Here we go. Goes hot.
Burrow catches a shotgun snap, drops back 3 steps, throws. Chase
Come on,
to the middle
Jamar.
of the field.
Come on,
Breaking
Jamar.
away. The 10, the 5. Touchdown! Bengals, 72 yards.
Jamar, you looked a little slow.
First and 10 from the 18. Burrow throwing it toward the end zone.
Boom.
Chase beats his man with the back shoulder throw. Fires deep down the sideline. Chase wide open. Sprinting downfield to the 20, the 10. Touchdown!
Man.
Bengals.
Unreal. Let's go.
F it. Jamar's down there somewhere. I'm going to just throw it up to him. He's going to make a play.
Yeah. Great job, bro. A lot of respect, man. I'll see you on playoffs.
The Bengals are kings of the North and headed to the playoffs with at least one home game after beating Kansas City in the jungle.
And that brings us to Power Moves, presented by the long-lasting power of Energizer as we bring her in. Hey, you like the Rams? Her hyperbola's got that bighorn energy. It is Cynthia Freeland. You can get all of her findings at NFL.com/Freeland. Cynthia, you saw it. I think people forgot because the playoffs have been so sensational. These two teams traded punches in a heavyweight bout near the end of the regular season. The Bengals come out on top. So what does your simulation suggest the probability is of them pulling off the upset?
Well, I think that the Chiefs, again, avenge another situation that wasn't their favorite. For me, it's 41.4% of simulations. This is early. We still need the final injury reports here. So 41.4% right now. The thing that I want to point out, remember we always talk about Patrick Mahomes and the safety looks. Well, Joe Burrow's starting to have a tendency too. When he faces single high safety, good luck. It is really hard for teams to defend it. But when you give him 2 safety shells, his passer rating goes down about 30 passer rating points. And if you look to see his interceptions, it's about 3 times as many when facing the 2 safety shells. So I think it's going to be interesting. Tyrann Mathieu's availability, there he is right there, is going to be very, very important and crucial in this one because we've seen Joe Burrow overcome a ton of pressure up front. The Chiefs haven't brought a ton of sack pressure. So, that's not their strength of their defense. But, again, it's the back end of the defense that's going to be interesting for me. And then, of course, one more thing. If Trey Hendrickson's availability, that's going to be quite an important part as well because that's the guy who had the second most pressures individually in the NFL this regular season. If he's not there, it's a much different value proposition for Patrick Mahomes.
I'm curious, Cynthia, if these two teams met in the divisional playoffs before Joe Burrow, and I know they won the game against Tennessee, but got sacked 9 times, I wonder if they would have had the percentage, if the machine, if the robot would have liked Cincy more. I feel like maybe you got exposed a little bit. Oh, that's the machine. Listen to that robot hum. How do you even sleep in your boudoir? But the pass protection issues, that makes me think that 41% is fair.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I look to see what would have happened with the Tennessee situation, Tennessee, we knew that they were really good up front. We knew that the question from Tennessee was the back end of their defense. So interestingly enough, I mean, look, there's a reason why it's historic to be sacked that many times, pressured that many times, and still win a game, right? It doesn't happen very often. So it's going to be interesting to see how Steve Spagnuolo handles it.
Yeah, and I just quickly point out, you talk about the too high safety look, and, that was, the conundrum for Patrick Mahomes. He just didn't want to take what the defense was given to him until he started to, and then you saw the yak of his receivers go up, and you have the same situation with the Bengals. It's like, hey, you have incredibly talented playmakers, so even though there's a too high safety shell, it's up to those guys, and they all have the weapons that can just do serious damage after the catch, and it's just being patient. Don't turn the football over.
So, Cindy, on the NFC side of things, Rams, Niners, and you have a situation here where, yes, the Niners are underdogs, but they've been underdogs in the Vegas world for 5 of the last 6 meetings and have won every game. So who is even really the favorite team here? Tell us what the machine says. What does the model take us through it here? How do they take us?
What are you saying from my boudoir? Yes, the machine says from upstairs that it's pretty much a coin flip in this one. I have 48.3% of the simulations. This is right now. This is early, right? We're only on Tuesday. We need to see all of the injury reports, what's going on here. This is as close to 50-50 as I've seen. It's interesting. When you look to see what that Week 18 matchup showed us, it's that the Rams defense was unable to adapt once the Niners offense came out in the second half, and just Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk just really kind of took over. So it's going to be interesting to see. Remember, we've seen the Rams have these fast starts, and then teams sort of start to catch up. And in this last one, it was obviously a field goal that was the difference maker. But if the Rams defense can't adapt to what the Niners are bringing on offense, it's going to look a lot more like that Week 18 game than maybe, Rams fans would like.
What was so interesting about Week 18 was, the 49ers are to some degree like the Titans, right? It's like, hey, you better not dig yourself too deep of a hole because we know what your recipe is for victory, and it's a lot of run, it's a lot of time of possession, and if you've got to come from behind, that's where they get into trouble. That wasn't the case. So it's kind of, we talked about this with the Bills and the Chiefs, like they won that regular season meeting playing their style of football, and it's like the 49ers now have some of those positive seeds planted that can bring up some green shoots about, yeah, we fell behind 17-0, but we were still able to dig out, not playing necessarily our signature brand of football.
Also, some of that magic pixie dust over the Niners. They seem to be one of those teams that are just on a run. Is pixie dust something that goes into the machine? Tell me about that.
What a dumb question. Of course it does.
Tell me everything.
You don't put any dust in the machine. You keep the machine clean.
Okay,
keep it clean.
That's important and fair.
It's that compressed air in the can. I love that stuff. I play with that all day. Thank you, Cynthia. Remember, check it all out at NFL.com/Freeland. When we return, not only will Dan get dinged by our player-coach combo platter,
again,
but there will surely be some self-congratulatory commentary from a certain car brother. Next.
playoff football, man. This is what we live for right here.
I'm gonna go home. I ain't going home, man.
They got us underdogs upset coming. This is the game of high stakes. Not today, LA! We all in. Be relentless. I can't stop you. Keep rolling. That's what I'm talking about. They will take over. Hardcore and collective, but I need some urgency. Keep kicking their ass. Go, back, go. We won the third. We need to win the fourth. Let's go. Get out.
Right where I want it to every time.
They can't block any one of you. Y'all getting a show out of this, huh? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Let's go, man. Let's go, man.
Back here on Power Rankings, presented by the long-lasting power of Energizer. Here is our playoff bracket. Yes, those are the power ranking seeds. The 49ers, the number 2. The Rams, the number 3. Oh, my goodness.
Juice.
You know what? I would imagine our player pushback portion of this program is going to be filled with humility. Right?
You never play the game.
Right? Right?
Thanks, Money. So, Mooch, you and I have looked at this list, and we have some thoughts. What stood out to you?
Yeah, my thoughts are, David, don't call me a homer, okay?
I'm not going to.
Talk about the 49ers.
Good team.
You know what they're going to be playing? Did you hear they're going to be playing over here in
right here in SoFi.
10 feet
from
the
us.
Rams.
Fantastic.
That's a good rival.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Can't be a rival unless it's an evenly matched thing. But the Niners have beaten them, what, 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
Look at Deebo Samuels right here. The guy is unbelievable. Plays tailbacks, plays slot, plays receiver. He's a kickoff return guy. In fact, the Niners have beaten Green Bay Packers the last 4 times they played in the playoffs. And this game was a shocker. They couldn't even score an offensive touchdown. Yet they still won the game in Lambeau against Aaron Rodgers. But this team is tough. It's strong. It's a muscle team. It's a hitch-in-the-mouth kind of team. And they're a dangerous team right now.
Yeah, you know what they did? They physically beat up the team that Hanzus told us was the number 1 team in the NFL. Whoa. Dan, I don't want to come at you, buddy, but I gave this little shot to Money when they played the Chargers, the Raiders, that is, the GG, okay? Here comes the GG to you, buddy. GG, because you told everyone at home that the Packers were the number 1 team in the NFL, and now Aaron Rodgers has 4 completions in the second half in the snow?
Yeah,
Mooch, that's not acceptable for a season ticket holder like yourself, okay? They have to be better. I need to see more. You're an owner of the football team, and we need to see more out of your quarterback. So for me, okay, it was just a little bit left to be desired for the Packers, okay? I love that man, Devontae Adams. Man, they're a tremendous football team. They got talent everywhere, but they just got to find a way to be better in the playoffs, okay? That's it. That's the list, okay? We'll see what happens next week, all right? Don't forget to catch us weekdays on Total Access. Money and Hanzus, GG. Back to you guys.
What a jerk.
I mean, you expect me to come back with fire.
Why you got to bring up old stuff, huh? Why's he got to come at me?
The great and handsome David Carr. He's got it all, and he also knows everything, apparently, because he knew the Packers were going to gag in the divisional round.
Did.
I'll take the L. GG on me. I got pawned. I don't know, whatever.
I'd like to point out, not so subtle shot at Aaron Rodgers there. Got talent all over the field, not getting a playoff win. You know what? Not a man who takes shot, but that was a shot at Aaron Rodgers.
What if baby brother ends up maneuvering his way to Green Bay?
What baby brother?
Baby brother Derek.
What are you talking about?
Baby brother.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They are related. True story.
They are? That's why he was taking shots at me for the Raiders? You got to be kidding me. They don't look anything alike. All right, let's get to it. Your quarterback ranking. With 4 left, Mahomes at number 1 after that wizardry with 13 seconds left on the clock to somehow get Kansas City to escape with an overtime victory. Burrow right behind Stafford, Garoppolo. Let's focus on number 4.
Yeah, because you could perhaps quibble with 2-3 there based on how Stafford's playing right now.
Sure.
But everyone's going to have Garoppolo at 4. I think it comes down to when you watch these games, and I know they've won 2 playoff games now, when you watch these games, are they winning because of him or in spite of him? And I think especially the game at Lambeau, so many plays where he just got away with it, where he was throwing balls up for grabs. His arm, well, that was obviously a terrible pick.
Didn't get away with that one.
But there were 2 to 3 throws that could have been interceptions, could have been pick sixes, and he got away with it. That's just not going to fly. Eventually, it's going to come back to haunt you. Now, we also can say this, though, Money. He has made some big throws. His receivers let him down in spots in Green Bay. But at the same time, he's the clear number 4 in this conversation.
No doubt. Look, I think it's up to Kyle Shanahan to figure out how to mask that deficiency. And he's done a great job, and a lot of it is just, Deebo Samuel running the ball. Deebo Samuel taking little shovel passes and doing a ton after the catch. He's got 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. He tried to give away the Cowboys game in the second half. Against the Packers, he was 4 of 11 on third down, 0 of 1 on fourth down. Like, that's not good. That's why you're number 4 in these rankings. However, versus the Rams in his career, 6 starts, 6-0, 260 yards per game, 9 touchdowns, a passer rating of 96, just like Kyle Shanahan. Garoppolo has got some sort of magic juice.
There's something
when it comes to the Bighorn Ram.
And we all have short memories. Week 18 feels like it happened about 3 years ago.
Jimmy G.
But down 24-17 with the season on the line, he took him down the field in a minute and a half for 7 and then led him to the game-winning points in OT. So he is certainly capable. He's just an inconsistent quarterback in a room, if we want to look at the remaining quarterbacks as guys in a room, potential Hall of Famers.
Look, here's, I think, the difference with Jimmy. And look, I don't know what it would look like if you redid the rankings of offensive play caller plus quarterback. Now, he's got Kyle Shanahan, right? So he's got the trump card of, I guess, with the exception of maybe Patrick Mahomes having Andy Reid. That combo. But I'm saying Kyle Shanahan is able to mask all of that. I don't know if there's another coach on that list that could do with Jimmy Garoppolo what Kyle Shanahan's doing with him and the way he designs his offense.
What about Joe Burrow with Kyle Shanahan? Imagine what would happen.
Unbelievable. Imagine.
Sorry, Zach Taylor. You've had an excellent season yourself.
What the heck? Go to one of those bars. Party with the people. They love you out there in Cincinnati. It's been a heck of a run. When we return, we'll remember yesterday. Walking hand in hand. Love letters in the sand.
I will remember you.
Will remember you.
La, 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 la.
Do that again. I'm sure that sounded great on the TVs.
It's round sound, baby.
Back here on Power Rankings, presented by the long-lasting power of Energizer. Well, here it is. Those that were booted from the tournament this past weekend in order. That's interesting. I would not have had the Packers against the Bucs, considering the way they performed in the divisional round. I think you got that wrong, Dan. Just to piggyback on what the player pushback was. I think you'd agree with that, right?
I think I nailed this.
Really? Yeah. After they came back, the way they did, the manner in which they showed fight, of which Green Bay had none?
I nailed it. All right. But
time to, you did. Time to remember those 4 teams. And we will begin with, I guess, I don't know. You're going to start with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that's why you didn't want to admit that you got that one wrong.
Well, hey, Aaron. Congrats on being named prom king. The trophy and the crown will look nice. However, we understand you are very disappointed with how the season ended, how the school year has ended, but you'll be back, right? You're gonna be back, right?
You know what? The analogy you just made, I realized, is you've been elected prom king, but because you failed out of class, you're not allowed to go to the prom.
Right.
So congratulations on your crown. No one will have an opportunity to see you put it on your head.
I would say congrats on all the amazing memories we had during the school year, but
still writing?
You failed your final exam, hence everything else doesn't matter.
We'll see you again next year. Failure.
Have a great summer.
All right. I'm going to take the Bills. Oh, you did it.
Gotcha.
Got me. Right there. Right there, you got me. Look at that. What a jerk.
Revenge.
I'll take the Bills. I'm going to remember, look, I have a ton of pleasant memories. I have positive memories. Josh Allen, you are special. And that's the first thing that comes to mind. What do you need? You want, we just went down 9. Okay, how about one play, 75 yards? We're now back to a 2-point game. 4th and 4, I'll get it on my feet. 4th and 13, you got it. 2-point conversion, watch this. How many quarterbacks can do this? Not many. That's what I'm going to remember. You know what else I'm going to remember? You hammered the Pats. When everybody was like, the Bills missed their window. The Bills missed their window. Now you got to deal with Mac Jones for the next 20 years. You missed it. You blew it, Bills. Oh, yeah? Humiliated. Absolutely humiliated them in the postseason. So way to go, Bills.
Kind of a weird move to write on the top of the yearbook. Usually you write in the inside portion.
I don't multitask well. That's why I play the trumpet, not the drums.
Honey, commit to the bit. Joe Titan fan.
Titan fan.
Yeah, and that could be Josephine. That could be Joseph.
Yeah.
It's gender fluid. I
sense this is personal.
I just want to say you have always been such a bully. Coming after Danny, who does the power rankings, and anyone else.
Danny. Sweet little Danny.
Anyone else who had the gall to doubt your team, despite mounting evidence that you were a Fugazi #1 seed.
Oh, wow, you're really rubbing it in now. Look at that. What are you doing, Tannehill?
Just want you to know that you peaked in high school.
Oh.
And now it's all downhill.
Oh.
And your Tannehill destroyed you in a huge spot. This one's for you. Titans Film Room, Justin Graver, our producer on the podcast.
That seems very personal.
That one got a little
very personal.
A little vindictive, a little Heathers moment for me there.
Did you draw the Bart Simpson on the?
Don't have a cow, man. How about the Bucks?
Cowabunga, the Bucks. Here's what I'll remember. What a great year. I mean, Tom Brady led the league in touchdown passes, led the league in passing yards, and he's 44, and it is just incredible. And what a tremendous effort by Tom Brady in the divisional round against the Rams to try to keep this thing going. That's what I will remember most about this year. And now I'm drawing a homer because you drew the, so that's what I'm doing. You know what else I remember? I'll remember the ultimate saboteur. The ultimate saboteur.
Oh.
Hey, deadbeat, pay your debts. Antonio Brown.
He's the burnout on the side of Walgreens, smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, Hesher with your 10 speed and your upside-down handlebars. What a nightmare Bruce Arians had to deal with all season. Is your team vaxxed? Are your vax cards fake? What's going on? Antonio Brown says he's got an ankle injury. He calls you barbarians. And then when you lose the game, this guy comes with this. Hey, man. There's bad guys. There's bad guys, and then there's the worst guy.
And know what's funny? I saw a report. I didn't even click into it. It was like Antonio Brown wants to play with only one quarterback. Is that how this is going to play out? Antonio Brown in 2022 is going to pick where he's going to play? Come on, bro.
Sadly,
Come
yes.
to reality.
Sadly, yes. That is how this is going to play out. All right.
KIT, keep in touch.
Just listen. Stop with the Titan stuff. Apologize.
I will not apologize because
You're better than
mentions
that.
were
Take the high road, not the low road.
Eerily silent after the game, after they destroyed me for 20 straight weeks. Grow up, Peter Pan.
I would have done Tommy Titan. Maybe Timmy Titan.
I wanted to keep it gender fluid.
Oh, yeah, like Joe from Facts of Life. Sorry. When we return here on Power Rankings, we did it last week. We're doing it again. Take the quarterbacks out of the mix. We're going to draft the top 3 players in the championship round.
Fun.
Went so swimmingly last week. Why not a repeat offender? Recidivism. That's what's coming on Power Rankings. Back here on Power Rankings, presented by the long-lasting power of Energizer. We show you the quarterbacks again. Mahomes 1, Burrow 2. Maybe some Rams fans have an issue with that after the way Matthew Stafford's performed in the postseason, but I agree with you. I like to push back and be your foil, Dan Zeus, but not on this one.
Okay, good.
So with the quarterbacks out of the way, we did it last week. We do it again. The remaining players available to us, were we to have a top 3 to build our roster around going into the championship round. Last week, Dan, you usurped my power, even though I am the man that brings it in and out.
Oh, I have to hit you with a GG because I drafted Deebo Samuel. Do you remember what he did on Saturday?
Didn't score a touchdown.
Yes, but he swung the game in multiple ways. Jamar Chase, do you remember what he did in that game? Set up the game-winning kick. And Tyreek Hill, do you remember what he did in that game? So I nailed it, even though you were mocking my picks. So maybe you'll learn from what I do, playmakers galore. You know what? You take the #1 pick because I think you need the help.
I think if you take any of the players that we drafted, the player that I'm going to still take #1 had the best week. Aaron Donald had the best week of any of the players. Your wide receiver, Deebo didn't score a touchdown. Jamar Chase did not score a touchdown. Aaron Donald wrecked the game to the tune of 27-3. The only reason why the Bucs were in this game was because the offense fumbled 4 times, including your guy, Cooper Kupp, who fumbled 4 times. Aaron Donald, #1.
All right. I didn't have Cooper Kupp last week, but I'm taking him this week because I am not going to overthink this. We got to stop overthinking this. Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp, #1?
He is the guy who makes everything happen.
It was a busted coverage.
But that was his 2nd touchdown of the game, Money. He had 180 yards receiving and 2 touches in a divisional playoff game. This guy is having one of those years where you can just book it. He's going to have 120 yards and a score at least on Sunday because he's been doing it all year. That's my first pick.
Well, I'm glad you took Cooper Kupp because I'm going to take, if you were to poll the 31 defensive coordinators in the league that are not on the Chiefs or Steve Spagnuolo, who's the biggest headache to contend with when it comes to a positional player, not quarterback? Tyreek Hill. I want nothing to do with that, man. He touches the ball, and next thing you know, what's a quick 5-yard out becomes a 50-yard touchdown.
Took one of my guys.
Give me, it's not one of your guys.
Well, last week
one of my guys. It's one of my guys this week.
You laughed.
It's one of my guys this week. I took Devontae Adams last week. I didn't know Aaron Rodgers was going to do what he always does in the playoffs.
All right, let me.
Tyreek Hill, my second pick. Now I've got the best defensive player and arguably the best offensive player.
All right, I'm going to match you. I gotta cancel out Hill with Jamar Chase, a transcendent rookie talent who is going to eat on Sunday. I think he's going to have a huge game.
He's going to have a meal on Sunday.
He's going to have a nice pasta dinner, the spaghetti pasta dinner, before the big homecoming game. But then he's going to light up the Chiefs, and I'm thinking maybe even 200 yards, one of those unforgettable games.
I'm taking the most complete tight end in the league. I thought about Kelsey, but now I'm going George Kittle. Give me the man that makes it go. Without George Kittle, Debo's not getting those gains. Garoppolo's not getting protected. It's one thing to have Trent Williams on the left side of that line, but when you can put Kittle on the opposite side of the line to help block, and then he's releasing and running up the seams and creating nightmare matchups, not to mention yard after contact, all the athleticism, the giant red zone target. Give me the best full-service tight end at one of the more important positions in the league, especially when you get to this round of the playoffs. I'll take George Kittle, especially after that body bag soundbite you played earlier.
Yeah, I love Kittle. He's one of my favorite players, but he has been pretty quiet offensively.
Because he's blocking.
In the playoff. Well,
he's blocking.
Yeah, but when Kittle is
part of the game.
Kittle does it
Blocking.
all. That's what makes him special. He's not just a blocker. Now, I wanted to put Jalen Ramsey here to get a defender, but he just got toasted by Mike Evans. I don't know where he's at mentally.
It was one play.
He might be in a mental body bag, so I'm going to counteract your Kittle with Travis Kelce, another guy we should just stop sleeping on. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame and be remembered as one of the great tight ends to ever play the game, and he's always there when you need him. I have a team here and a roster this week, Money, that I can depend on. Money.
You have no defenders. You have no defense. You have a tight end that doesn't block, and you've got two wide receivers. You should have taken Nick Bosa.
When are you going to learn
That's who
your
you should have
lesson,
taken.
Money? I spanked you in this segment last week.
No, you did not.
It's going to happen again.
How did you figure? That doesn't make any sense.
13 for 204 and
two of your players did not score touchdowns. Aaron Donald had the best week of any of these players. The best week.
It was a nice pick at number one.
Yes, it was. And it is again. And he's going to be the most impactful player again.
We'll see what happens next week.
Yes.
Only on Power Rankings.
When you pat yourself on the back again. Did you see how awesome my picks were? They were unbelievable last week.
Barry Horowitz.
You can't go wrong. Although I'm thinking about Nick Bosa instead of George Kittle. There's a little part of it that's like, I don't want a guy up the edge. Oh, Von Miller, who's just exploded in the postseason, would have been another way to go.
See, I don't have any second thoughts. Money does. You have to read into that.
Oh, it's because your team is trash. All right, when we return, we have got challenge flags to throw. We were robbed. Oh, this was beautiful, but we were robbed of more football. We're going to get into challenges. Things we want to see done differently.
We want that giant boy back on the field for one more drive.
Right. Our big brains figure it all out next. Back on Power Rankings, presented by the long-lasting power of Energizer. Well, as you have heard, Sean Payton is leaving the Saints. Alluded to by Gail Benson, alluded to some degree by Sean Payton. Speculation became rampant late last night. Rappaport sharing today, Sean Payton not going to be head coach of the Saints next year, and you know what that means, Dan.
It means the Saints are about to, after being kind of in the center of the NFC storm for a decade plus now, no Drew Brees, no Sean Payton, a team in internal cap struggles. What happens next?
He goes to the Cowboys. Sean Payton goes to the Cowboys to coach up Dak Prescott.
I mean, maybe
it's been rumored for 10 years. Right now, absolutely. Jerry Jones wasn't that committed. It was not that committal to Mike McCarthy when asked about him. This to me, it's either the Giants. It's saving one of the blue blood franchises is what this lines up to be.
It certainly could be that.
And who would he rather coach, Daniel Jones or Dak Prescott?
Well, there's talk that he also wants to take a year off, which then would also set up nicely for the Cowboys when Mike McCarthy inevitably falls short.
Perhaps.
In 2022, and then he just slides in. Anyway, that is huge. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So now another head coach opening. We got a whole bunch.
That's 9, by the way.
A lot of people tying Brian Daboll now that they've hired their GM Joe Schoen to New York, and that's where he's going to end up, bringing those two together. But ought to be interesting. All right, let's go. Challenge flags as we wrap this thing up.
Look away, money, because I love Los Angeles. I've fallen in love with Southern California. But I am going to challenge. That was a great throw.
That was a good throw.
I have to challenge the Rams fans again.
Why?
I have to do it, money.
Why?
Because we need to fill up the building. We need to show
Who's
this
we?
country.
Who is we?
Los Angelinos. We need to
Where
show.
are you from?
I live here now.
Yeah, there's a lot of people from San Francisco that live here.
We cannot have the 49ers fill up the building.
But they will.
Here.
But
Look
they
at
will.
Debo Samuel, his tweet. He's getting all fired up because
they will.
Rams are trying to keep people from outside the region to keep them out of the games.
Yeah.
You don't know
and
how
they lifted that restriction.
Can I tell you something, Money? I'm 41. I've never had an AFC title game that the Jets have been at home. These things don't happen a lot. If you're a Rams fan, get to that building and celebrate your team.
And if you don't, whatever. There's still going to be a lot of electricity in there. All right, real quick, challenge flag. I had Chiefs fans getting upset with me, like, oh, you're just upset the Chiefs won again. No, I'm not. I just don't like the coin flip. Let's figure it out. It can't be a coin flip. It cannot be a 50-50 process where you score 25 points in a minute 50 seconds. And now all of a sudden, you're going to give an offense the ball in overtime, and if they score a touchdown, they win, and the other team's offense never gets a chance.
All right, so what's the solution?
Then get rid of the sudden death that they score a touchdown. Each team has an opportunity to possess the football. That way, you're fine. You got to play defense, you got to play offense, you got to play defense, and you got to play offense. Everybody has the same opportunity.
So
that's all I'm asking for.
Who has the ball first?
No. Well, I guess it's almost better not to have it first, because if they kick a field goal, you have an opportunity to score the touchdown. It doesn't work out quite that way. So just give Josh Allen a chance. I want to see Josh Allen possess the football in overtime.
I agree. Do you flip the coin to be able to get the ball second now?
Perhaps. You get to choose when you win. You want it first? You want it second?
Hamina.
Thanks for watching Power Rankings. Hamina, right?